Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. My name is Dr. Mona Islam, and I am pleased to be joined today with Attorney Roula Allouch for our webinar. And as you know, this Ramadan, our webinar series for TISA is about reviving our leadership legacy, reforming oneself, and restoring society. So we are touching base on different aspects of leadership every week, everything from leadership of the self to leadership in your family to leadership of community and leadership in society. And so today I'm going to be talking to Attorney Roula Allouch about leadership in community. And as you know, Attorney Roula Allouch is a visiting faculty with us at TISA. She's also the immediate past chair of CARE. She's also the chair of the Bar Association Center for Human Rights. So I welcome you today, Attorney Roula.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum. It's good to be with you.
So I want to ask you, Sister Roula, if you can give some examples of leadership in the community. When we think of leadership in the community, what are some examples that come to mind for you?
The first people that come to mind to me are our parents, mothers and fathers, the first people that we have the opportunity just as youth to be led by. And of course, all of these issues within our community start in the home. We want to make sure that we're providing appropriate foundations for our community. And I just think sometimes we think of leaders in the community with a capital L. It has to be some person that's well known or a person that's on a stage or the person leading us in discussions. And while those people certainly are leaders, I also think beyond our parents, just of the people around us, the aunties and uncles in the community that help us and look out for us as kids, teachers, other adults, the people around who are really shaping the experience of youth in our community.
Wonderful. What do you think are some of our pain points as a community that we really need to address and strengthen within ourselves?
That's such a heavy and loaded question right now. I think there are so many things that are on many of our minds in terms of painful challenges, oppressive situations that too many people in our community and in the world around us are experiencing. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alleviate their suffering. Um, and also just paying attention to, if we're talking about, for example, the American Muslim community, how that impacts us here at home. Lots of pain points around where we stand in the society around us and what work there is to do to ensure that we are properly advocating for ourselves, empowering ourselves, and placing our community in a position to be not just a positive impact in the community and society around us, but also respected and treated with dignity that we, of course, know that we deserve as every human being deserves.
And how would you say we should train ourselves to be better leaders in the community?
I think something really important for all leaders is to remember that if you're in a role where you feel like you have leadership roles, then really what it is leadership responsibilities and an amana, a responsibility for us to make sure that we are operating the appropriate way, that we're following the examples of those who came out before us, following our Islamic tradition, maintaining our intention. That's a constant prayer that I make, is to inshallah have our intentions stay pure and to keep us on the right path, and for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to guide us in the work that we're doing and the decision making. We're faced with that. I really think having a sense of humility about the role and making sure that we're understanding that we're not there's nothing special about being a person that's in a leadership role other than it gives you a heightened level of responsibility. I think people should feel the weight of a role of leadership, because really it comes with that sense of obligation to the community and those around us. And there are a lot of things that I think we can do to train ourselves. One is being open to being led by others. In order to be a good leader, you have to also be somebody who's willing to be a follower, and making sure that we're educating ourselves and maintaining connections with people around us. Um, Focusing on also things that are important like wellness and spiritual wellness, physical wellness, emotional, mental, all of these components of ourselves that are important parts of being able to serve and fulfill the responsibilities that we have.
Wonderful. Can you give some examples that really have stood out to you of leaders demonstrating taqwa in their actions? Perhaps they exemplified honesty or fairness in their dealings or incorporating faith into professional practice. And this might be, someone that you've seen, or perhaps from Islamic history or from history.
Yeah, rather than identifying specific individuals, I've just really been impressed by those who have been involved and actively engaged in leading our community in so many challenging situations, especially the past few months and also few years. I continue to be inspired by the members of the CARE team, the Council on American Islamic Relations, who find so many challenges before them and continue to stand firmly and strongly in support of our community and its rights and focusing on empowering our community. And so there are so many more individuals that are doing that same thing right now. It's just such a critical time for us, and to have people that have their backs straight and their heads held high and are encouraging us to be unapologetic, as our sister Linda Sorsud, a fantastic example of leadership, mashallah, as she continues to remind us to ensure that we're then spreading that message of positivity and empowerment to our community. So, alhamdulillah, we're really blessed. There are more examples than we could name. And inshallah, the collective effort is what is most important, not any single individual's abilities or what they individually may have done or not done, but collectively what we can do as a team and as a collective community moving issues forward.
Wonderful. And I have to ask, what do you think is the role of women as leaders in the community?
To be just that. I mean, when you asked me who are the first people that I think of as leaders, and I shared our parents, and that's our mothers and our fathers, if we're blessed enough to have both in our lives. And it's, to me, there's not really a question. We know that we need to ensure that everyone's actively participating, and there are strengths that individuals have, whether they're male or female, and they'll be able to contribute. And so we would not be a thriving community if any part of it is not thriving, if any part of it is not involved in the decision making. I can tell you that I have been around long enough to have seen situations where when certain organizations or decisions are being made, so I've reached the point where I don't need to be told that there were no women in the room. You can kind of tell that there's a perspective on behalf of the community that is missing. And that's really, at this point, to me, a failure of leadership or leaders who are operating in spaces if they're not if they're not making sure that it's an inclusive environment, not just for women, of course, but for people of all backgrounds in our community, to ensure that we're getting that, sure, the perspective of people directly impacted so that we can benefit. I do a lot of work around diversity, equity, inclusion, which again is also incredibly challenging in these times, in particular for people in our community, but we keep pushing forward on these issues. And one of the points I always share with people is a reminder that ultimately there's such benefit when you have diverse perspectives around the room, because whatever the ultimate outcome is, whether it's as counsel representing clients or it's an institution leading a certain part of the community, the more diversity you have, the better.
Mashallah. Beautifully stated. And this leads to my last question for you, Sister Roula, which is, how do you feel the community is weakened with a lack of people stepping up?
So I'd like to flip that question and flip it to the positive, which is how much we are strengthened when people do step up. Because we've seen examples of that, over the past few months or the past few years. And I mean, alhamdulillah, we're really blessed with individuals who are willing to step in when others step away, or when, a challenge arises. There are people in our community that are coming towards it to meet it. And I think about how difficult it would be if we didn't have organizations and individuals willing to do that. So there's always more that could be done, and there's always a greater need for people to come in and support and contribute. But alhamdulillah, the strength that we have is because of people's willingness to step in and walk towards the challenge and the issue, to ensure that we're properly advocating or looking out for our community.
Inshallah. Well, Sister Rolla, it's been delightful, and thank you so much for your insight, for your wisdom, for your reminders. You are a very inspiring female leader yourself. We are
Yeah.
all, we all admire you, and inshallah, we will benefit from the wisdom that you've shared. So jazakumullah khairan, and may Allah bless your Ramadan. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
عليكم السلام ورحمة الله.